Welcome to the show. Nick and I are here talking more Big Brother. The game is over, but there is one person that I'm sure will talk about the game for the rest of his life, and we are lucky to be joined by him today. It is your winner of Big Brother Season 17. Steve is with us. Steve, welcome to the show. Yes. Congratulations. Right. He's raising the roof. You know what? You can do that if you win $500,000. You can do the sprinkler.
I do whatever I want.
He can do whatever he wants.
He could be doing this interview totally naked or just like in his boxers eating donuts. You know, you can do those kind of things.
No, I wasn't even naked in the house. I showered in my bathing suit.
You're the champ, man. How does it feel? I mean, have you?
Yes.
Tell me you've done some stupid things with the money. Have you even gotten the money yet? Tell me you've at least got a credit card and made some terrible purchases.
Did you buy a pink Cadillac yet?
I bought a Wii U. And
That's it? That's pretty good, man.
I bought a Wii U, and I got Mario Kart, and I got a Mario platformer.
No, and you know what? I'm upset because I understand that purchase. Steve, I want you to go out and buy like a zebra coat.
No.
I want you to buy like just something stupid that doesn't make any sense.
I actually talked to some financial advisor today to figure out how to best invest it and make the money last for the rest of my life and be smart about it.
Damn it! I know how to do this, okay? You go back and you buy all of the Beanie Babies, right? And you get them at a very low price because no one's making assets anymore, right? And then you turn them around just like diamonds because you have them all right? Then you have all the Beanie Babies, and then you turn your winnings and you double it. You see?
Is that what they teach you at Yale?
That's exactly.
Every 10 minutes.
It's called Beanie Baby theory.
Every 10 minutes, this guy is talking about flipping Beanie Babies. I tell you what, you got to make it happen. But Steve, seriously though, I mean, you're a huge super fan of this show. It must feel incredible to win Big Brother.
It doesn't feel real. Like, I still don't believe it happened. Like, I still don't believe I'm a house guest. It's just also strange. I mean, like, it's just people walking up to me in like malls and airports. It's just also bizarre. It's cool, but it's just not life yet. It's not real.
What's been the weirdest thing that's happened to you?
Yeah, what's the weirdest?
Weirdest?
Other than, you know, like talking about like
a lot of marriage proposals.
Really?
Yes.
You said yes to any?
I have not. I'm in no rush for that. That's an adult thing, and I'm not an adult yet. So
don't worry. There's Tinder too, so you don't. You got plenty of chapters to go through until you.
Yes, I'm not an adult, and I'm not ready for adult things like that yet.
Have you gotten any marriage proposals where you're like, you know, she's pretty cute. I could consider this.
I'm in no rush for any relationships right now. I'm in right now. I'm just going to finish my undergrad, go to grad school, and I'll work from there.
Now, Steve, you're a super fan.
Yes.
And did you apply multiple times to be on Big Brother?
No, because I'm 22. You have to be 21. And I had some family conflicts that prevented me from doing it last year. I was very upset. So this was the first time I actually could apply.
So you applied for the first time and won the show.
Yes.
I mean, easy.
That's been a couple years. I mean, Derek was a first timer, and so was Ian.
Oh, okay.
That's true. That's true.
That's impressive.
Andy, I'm not sure. But I know Derek and Ian were both first-time applicants.
Is that an advantage, you think, being a super fan? Because you obviously know the history of the show, but then can you get in the house and overthink everything and draw comparisons? Is it an advantage or a disadvantage?
It's an advantage if you use it right. Because, on the disadvantage, like, for example, you have Audrey, who played a lot of the online Big Brother games with other huge super fans. And she got so used to playing with so extreme super fans, she wasn't in the mindset to play with recruits. And I think she's being one example a lot of time when someone comes in the house and they overplay their hand really, really fast. Moving company.
Oh my God.
Whoa, he's coming at you. Hold on, he's the champ though. Like, come back as the champ.
You know?
And I think...
I can't even refute the claim. I can't be like, you know what, Steve? I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I think, so it's an advantage if you use it right. And it's a disadvantage if you use it wrong. I mean, recruits have won the show too. I mean, Jordan, one of our favorite winners, was a recruit. So,
now, what would you say was like the most interesting or thing that stood out the most through the casting process? Like something that you were like, "Whoa, I didn't think it was going to quite be like this."
How much I'd be seeing everyone else. Like, I saw a lot more of the other people
now
in the casting process than I thought. I don't know how much I can talk about this, so don't care to elaborate, but I saw more of the other house guests than I thought I would.
Oh, well, I'm out of the contract, so I can tell you. Basically, yeah, like you see a lot of the people, like people think like you just appear in the house. It's not quite the case. Like in the casting process, like you have to like be around them, like just like by the casting process alone. So you brush by them. They are very strict about you not talking to them, but you do see them. And I remember in my season, I saw a lot of people. Actually, there were a couple people that stuck out. Actually, like older gentlemen that I was like, he's definitely going to be in. And then when I got there, like I was probably one of the older people. I think Spencer was the oldest.
Yeah, your cast was pretty young. I'm not one to be talking, but your cast was pretty young.
Yeah, I think they made young decisions too.
Yes.
Yeah, this year, Shelley being the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was definitely suspicious that Austin was lying about his age for the while, just because, like, I was like, someone here has to be lying. There's no way there's a Big Brother cast where the oldest person's in their early 30s. There's no way.
Yeah, there was no Jerry this year.
Yeah, but there was not even like a Donnie.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even a Helen.
This is how you know it's a super fan.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it, dude. This is so great.
Now, awesome. Steve, as a super fan, I would imagine you had your strategy going into the house. Mm-hmm. Now, how detailed was that strategy? And then how much did that strategy change as the game went on?
I'm very lucky and fortunate in that I stuck to my strategy almost exactly. I wanted to be the weak underdog player. No one would take me seriously, and I'd be a complete waste of your HOH. I got into alliance. I sat at the bottom of the alliance, and I was played super loyal. I wanted people to think I was weak, innocent, that they could control me, and I'd be easily to manipulate and just ride that out. And therefore, so when my alliance gets to the end and the alliance starts to turn on each other, everyone's going to want to drag me with them because I'm going to be the person that they can work.
Now, this question may sound kind of strange because you won the game. So obviously, like, you got to the point that you wanted to. But is there anything that you regret during your time in Big Brother, in the house, gameplay-wise?
The one moment I go back to is that Final Four veto. Yes, I did throw it. And the reason why I threw it was because I thought that if it was a me, Johnny Mack, and Liz Final Three, I knew Liz would take Johnny Mack because he never won an HOH. And I was so scared that Johnny Mack would take Liz over me. Because Johnny Mack, if he takes me, there's 4 Scamper Quad votes for me right there. But if he takes Liz, there's 3 Scamper Quad votes and a Rockstar vote. So I'm kind of almost hoping Johnny Mack would go because in me, Liz, Johnny Mack Final Three, I thought they'd both take each other. But with Vanessa, she'd be okay taking me because we were both in Scamper Squad. Turns out I was wrong. Vanessa was never going to take me over Liz. And Johnny Mack may have possibly taken me over Liz. So I made the wrong decision there. The other thing I go back to is that first HOH, if I should have sat out, because then I would have never had the Spelltron bonus, and that whole smart kid reputation wouldn't have started following me. And I could have just sat out that first week with the fast forward. So
speaking of the final 3, when it came down to the one question that really, as the audience at least, was the turning point. Now, how did you come to the conclusion that that's what Johnny Mack would say?
Because he only worked out with Austin as strategy as a means of bonding with him. He didn't like doing it, and he hates being a dentist.
Interesting.
I didn't know that.
That's a nice little nugget. He told you he hates being a dentist?
Yeah, he's only doing it for the money. He told
us the same thing, actually. So, yes.
We got to start paying attention to these interviews.
I remember he went out of high school like, what can I do that'll make a bunch of money? I'll be a dentist.
You even sounded like him right there. That's pretty good.
That was pretty good, yeah.
But he's only there for the money. So I'm sure he's a great dentist, but he doesn't enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I think a financial drive can make you extremely good at your craft. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, it's just he's not a dentist because he likes it. He's a dentist because he likes the paycheck.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So, Steve, let's talk about your gameplay a little bit. I think, what would you say to it seemed like the main knock on your gameplay was people called you a floater for the first half of the show. I wanted to kind of give you a chance to respond to people that had that criticism of the game.
I hate the word floater because it means so many different things, and people use that word in a lot of different meanings. What type of floater are you referring to? Like,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Like, what is your definition of floater?
Yeah, I think people from the criticism that it seemed like was out there was that you didn't entirely maybe play as hard in the beginning, and you just kind of seemed to kind of skate by in the beginning.
Okay. Well, I went up on the block the first 2 weeks, so I obviously was playing the game then because I had to fight my way off the block both weeks. And as soon as I was done being on the block, I started making alliances. I got myself in the Scamper Squad. I started my tiff with Austin to hide the Scamper Squad because the two of us were fighting constantly, but we'd laugh about it behind closed doors to hide the alliance. I made the Rockstar with Johnny Mack, and I started building relationships. I will say, yes, my game pre-jury was entirely defensive. I didn't really go after anyone. I mean, I was a part of what encouraged Vanessa to go after Jason instead of Austin. I was a part of Jeff, but I'm by no means going to take credit. I was a contributor, but it was by no means my move. Everything I did was just defensive. And just because I wasn't going after people, I was just building layers of people around me, making people trust me, making people think I was a sweet, innocent kid that can never go against them. It was a defensive game I was playing, but I just never had targets.
I will give you credit. There are a lot of house guests that make it to the final two. And, you know, like I told Liz this when we interviewed her, she just had terrible answers when it came to the final two. I definitely respect you in terms of you came hard and you told people exactly why you should have won the $500,000. And I feel like house guests don't seem like they're like, oh, I'm in the final two. Oh, I didn't know what I was going to say. You were kind of like you were there with your answers. You were ready. You were set to go. And
because I know what I did. It's just because early on in the game, you don't want people coming after you. And if you unless someone was coming after me, which they weren't, I had no reason to go after anyone else. So I was just playing entirely defensively. And it wasn't a big showy game with big moves like Austin, with like what Vanessa did back during Jason, but I was just building layers of people around me and building those relationships I needed later on in the game. It wasn't showy, which is why people are saying that. Because I didn't have targets that wasn't big and showy. It was all defensive. It was boring to watch, but it was what I needed.
Gotcha.
Now, speaking about, boring to watch, fun to watch, have you gone back and watched any of your own footage yet?
I've seen a few bits and pieces, not much.
Were you surprised, or what is sort of your reaction to the way that you were perceived on the show? Do you think it was justified or no?
I'm disappointed that none of my strategic game was shown prior to the double eviction. So when I put in Meg and Jackie, it made absolutely no sense to anyone who was only watching the TV show. And the way I was playing into Vanessa made it seem like I was actually doing it. Like, I know what happened in Final 5 is Johnny Mack was campaigning to Vanessa to keep me, but the way he was doing is saying he wants to get rid of me. And on the show, it looked like Vanessa is why Johnny Mack voted to keep me. But the real reason is Johnny Mack was saying how I'm ready to vote against Steve. By showing that distance, Vanessa was willing to keep me because she didn't think Johnny Mack and I were together anymore. So that conversation was really Johnny Mack playing Vanessa, but it came across as Vanessa playing Johnny Mack.
Now, there was one thing that the viewers actually didn't really see a whole lot of, but then we were kind of made aware of later, and that was your friendship with Johnny Mack. I mean, truthfully, like as a viewer, all summer long, it seemed like you guys, were like on two sides of the house, but you guys maybe like, talked in passing. And then we kind of learned like towards the end that you guys were like really good friends. I mean, is that true?
We formed the Rockstars in like week 2. I mean, and even for Nova Scotia, he said he was going to throw it to me to give me a better chance of winning. Like and then the same reason I returned the favor and I threw high maintenance to him when he was on the block the next week. We had been working together literally the entire game.
Would you have taken Johnny Mack to the final 2?
Yes, because he never won any HOHs. I think he would have, just like out of final 6, I think he would have been the easiest person to beat.
And speaking of the final 2, I think you played a really strong game, Steve. I was hoping for the Steve-Vanessa finale. And I was going to kind of ask you right now, if it was down to you two, why do you think that you should be the winner over Vanessa?
I'm not sure I think that.
Really?
She's good. I don't know. I definitely had my points because I played under the radar and I let her do it all for me. But I can't knock Vanessa's game because she's absolutely brilliant. We played two very – I mean, like I was definitely playing – we were both on the whole time. I was playing a more passive game while she was playing a more aggressive game. I was more defensive while her was more offensive. And they're just two very, very different games that I'm not sure I'd compare them.
Yeah. As a super fan, though, you would have cast your vote objectively for Vanessa if it was Steve and Vanessa in the final 2.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But, ironically enough, getting her out of the house was what cemented your win. So
that it was.
I think that I knew the jury would really respect me for doing it.
Yeah.
Did you consider at all going to the finals with Vanessa or no?
I mean, obviously, when you're in that point, I forced myself to weigh my options. I went down and I counted jury votes both ways. But in the back of my head, I was at the same time I was forcing myself to consider my options. I knew in the back of my head I couldn't take her.
Yeah.
Vanessa's brilliant. She really is.
Yeah.
Now that you've been in the house the entire summer because you went all the way to the end, what has been the most interesting thing that you've adjusted to now being outside of the house?
Twitter and how many fans I have and how much support I've had. It's been absolutely overwhelming. I've gotten way more support than I ever could have imagined, and it's so incredible to see. And to be on the other side of the fan base has been absolutely incredible. It's surreal. It's still not real to me yet. Like to go on Jokers and see my face there. It's really strange.
Yeah. Now, everybody pegged you as this season's Ian Terry. It seemed like early on, they were like, "Oh, he's going to win. He's going to be this season's Ian Terry," and that was very early on in the game. How did you escape that?
Because I convinced myself I wasn't a threat to their game. When people are HOH, especially in early game, they want to go after the people who are going after them. They want to go after the people who are going to be big threats to their game. At least half of what I did pre-jury was convince people I'm not a threat to you. I'm this weak little kid that you can work whenever you need to. If you ever need to vote for me, you'll be able to work me to get that vote. I'm not a threat to you.
Gotcha.
I would say that's a pretty good strategy.
Yeah.
And clearly it works. Yeah. Better than trying to create a giant alliance early on.
Yeah, you know.
Kind of like what Audrey did this year. I feel like what you did in 15 seems like is what Audrey did this year.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you live and you learn, bro.
Yeah. Being the one who creates the alliance it frequently blows up in the person's face.
Yeah.
Now, Steve, there was a number of times on this season CBS showed you with cameras and trash cans and around the house talking to them. Do you do that in normal life, or was this just the pressure cooker of Big Brother and needing an outlet to talk to somebody?
I do talk to myself on the regular basis. I think it was probably more extreme in the house than it is in real life, but I do probably do a lesser version of what you saw in real life.
Gotcha. And then I was going to ask as well about Becky. There seemed to be a rivalry that the viewers or the viewers could never kind of figure out.
Yeah, I know. Okay. The entire Becky thing comes down to this. One, she kept out loud telling me how much I'm like Ian Terry. I'm like, okay, you see me as a threat. Good to know. Number two, I kept trying to talk game with her just to even pretend that we're – because it was kind of weird because we're opposite sides of the house, but we could have that fake conversation to pretend we're good. She wouldn't do it with me. I remember once she like, hey, we should have a pool date tonight. Like, oh, great, sounds good. And we were hanging out by the pool, and I was waiting to talk game, and I tried to initiate, and just like I couldn't talk game with her. So between she saw me as a threat because she kept comparing me to Ian, and she wouldn't talk game with me, so I'm like, okay, I assume that means you're going after me and think I'm a threat.
Gotcha.
So you mentioned it earlier. You know, you have this like vast amount of support online. Where can people find you? What are your handles for your social media?
I'm on Geek Squad McGee1 on Twitter, and I have a Facebook fan page as well. I think it's just like Stephen Moses' official Facebook fan page, something like that. I'm still new to all this because I was never on Twitter prior to the house. Awesome. But yeah, I'm starting to figure that out.
And I just have kind of two final questions for you. One, if I could give you $500,000 or give you the title of a Big Brother champion, you could only have one, which one would you choose?
That's a really good question. I don't know the answer.
You choose the championship, I think.
I will say this.
Oh.
I will answer your question like this. So they escorted me out of the studio after I won, and I was in this conference room with my mom and some security and stuff like that. And my mom was talking about the money, and it was about 20 minutes after that I realized I also won money.
So I think that's the answer right there.
Money was never on my mind in the house, ever.
And then that was going to be my next question. Funny enough that you brought it up. Your mom was such a big part of the season, a character in the show. Can you bring us into a little bit of what that was like when you finally saw her? Either maybe some of her first questions for you, what you guys first talked about. Can you kind of bring us into that relationship?
I thought it was odd when Zingbot brought her up. Like, but I didn't think too much of it. And then finale night, the press truck in the backyard. I think quite literally every outlet I talked to asked me about her. I'm like, what? Like, I thought she was maybe a player in this season like Tim Brecht was last year. I think she might be the single largest role of a family member that has ever been played in a season. It seems like, if not, she's very close to being up there. So I had no idea.
So take us into when you finally saw her. I mean, it was clear how much she meant to you as we were watching that show. What was that?
I never would have even heard of Big Brother if it wasn't for her. She's what got me into it originally. It was something that we shared my whole life. And like at the dinner table, it'd be me, my mom, and my dad, because my brother, his senior year was in 6th grade. So 7th grade up, it was just the three of us. And then me, mom, and I would go back and forth about Big Brother. My dad would just be kind of sitting there. So now out of the house, are you guys just talking constantly about your season? Or she is more than I am. She's very involved with the Twitter and Facebook and very emotionally invested. She cares much more about how many Twitter followers I have than I do.
What was the first thing that she said to you when she finally saw you when you're out of the house and you were the winner?
Everything was positively received. I don't have anything to worry about.
Awesome.
Because you never know when you have the one comment that can be blown way out of the water. And I'm very I don't need to give any examples because they've been, but I'm very happy that there weren't any big controversy this year as far as I'm aware of.
Yeah, no, you definitely got a great cut for sure.
No, everyone in our season, it seemed like there was no like racial problems or anything like that.
So this is my last question for you. What is next for Steve? What are you doing next?
I'm going to finish my undergrad in January, and I'm starting grad school in August.
Awesome. What is that? What's the major actually in? It's music, correct?
Audio engineering.
Audio engineering.
Very
So
cool.
just for like people, like the layman people out there, like me included, what is audio engineering?
That's an interesting question. I do sound things with like a lot of what I'm doing at school is a lot of recording, mixing, editing my music, and basically like taking a band and actually making an album out of it. I also do a lot of composing and make my albums out of that. Also a lot of live sound. So like there's a band concert I can be setting up, and that the guy pushing all the faders and knobs, I'm sitting in the back listening and mixing the concert or something like that.
So when Otev comes out with his new single, you can mix it.
Yes, he would come to my studio and I can help make it work.
And Johnny Mack will hit you up pretty soon. We talked to him. His brother plays guitar. Johnny Mack plays guitar and drums. I can see this like band with Johnny Mack and Steve doing all the audio engineering.
It's a shame everyone's so far apart now. It was a lot easier when we were all in the same place.
Hey, I'm sure you guys could fix that. You got the money now, Steve. You can buy a compound.
I'm not going to be doing any elaborate spending. I'm saving and putting it all away.
I think you need a compound with penguins and like and miniature golf courses.
I think it was. I don't want to say who it was because I'm not sure. But someone made a YouTube video this morning. It was some known media outlet that was saying I should get a mansion and fill it with cocaine. Someone was suggesting that I do that.
I know your mom's not going to sign off for that one.
I have no intentions on doing that, but someone suggested that to me this morning.
Yeah.
I don't think your financial advisor would be too keen on that.
No, I am saving.
Unless cocaine is a code word for Beanie Babies. Now, if that's the case,
here we go again.
Okay, now we're on to something here. Okay?
Beanie Babies again, Nick.
Things like Nick Uhas learned at Yale. Invest in Beanie Babies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cornell. I'm kind of obligated as a Cornell.
Hey, man, you're
not alum, but something. I have to bash Yale. That's kind of obligated.
It's in your blood.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
We're really just secretly jealous. So.
Yeah, it's in a different part of the U.S. It's a little colder where you are.
Yeah, a little bit.
Awesome, man. Well, either way, man, congratulations. Yes. You won. That is a ginormous title, Big Brother 17. So thank you so much for coming on our show and talking with us.
Yes, and thank you everyone so much for your support. It is so cool that being on the other side of the camera for all this is so strange, but I'm so thankful, and just thank you so much to all the fans and the community for your support because it means absolutely everything to me.
Awesome. Congratulations, Steve.
Thank you.
If you like this video, click here to subscribe. New videos every week.